I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's good. For one other thing I want to say, I love the little setup you got going on. I love the little pictures and the symmetry. It looks good.
Yeah, these are some paintings I've done years ago, but I try
Oh,
to since the pandemic, everything's been kind of virtual, so I kind of turn my office into
to like,
a
I get that.
studio.
That's dope though. I like that. I like that. But on all honesty, I didn't even know that you painted those yourself. How long did it take you for the middle one?
Yeah, because uh, I want to say the middle one took about 3 or 4 months.
Ooh, that's not bad. It looks good. It doesn't it look, I
Yeah,
feel like it
not
would take
bad.
longer than that. Because my dad used to do a little bit of painting every now and then, and I promise you, he was the type of painter where like he starts on it for like he goes crazy on it for like a week straight, and then he doesn't work on it for like the next 4 or 5 months, and then brings it back later. He was good at painting. I'm not gonna lie, but what's it called? That's like where I got my knowledge of art. I guess he was really good with that. How long have you been drawing and all that, or like painting in general, like artistic? How long have you been like doing that?
So I didn't start painting until I got to college,
Ooh.
and I took a couple classes
Mm-hmm.
on like art theory, painting, oil, and then I realized that like I'm good at that stuff, but I didn't want to go to school for that stuff. So like
Right.
I just kind of hung it up. I didn't really have the time to paint.
Right.
Uh, Painting it takes a lot of time. It takes a
Oh,
lot
I
of
believe it.
patience.
Yeah.
Materials are expensive.
Exactly.
Like I was just like, for me to not really, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way for me to project what I'm feeling, but
Yep.
it's not enough for me to do it all the time.
No, I respect that. I respect that. I would customize shoes a little bit about a year, maybe about a year and a half ago. So it was kind of like the same thing. Like I liked doing it and I knew that I would be good at doing it, but the amount of time that I was putting into it, after a while, I just kind of felt like, this just isn't for me. So I kind of I didn't really give it up. I guess I gave it up, but I just kind of put it away for now. I think I did one nice pair of shoes, but it was a little nice little run. I think my brand was called my brand. There wasn't really anything at the time, but I called it Kick Off the Custom. I was proud of the name, but I wasn't putting in that much work on it, so I kind of just gave it up over time. But yeah, so one of the first things
Sometimes it's like that.
exact. Oh no, trust me. My mom always told me I like to learn the hard way. So I guess that was an example of that because that's exactly what it was. I didn't know that I didn't want to do it until I bought a $200 airbrush, and then I was like, I should have waited. But one of the first things that I wanted to ask you was early on, because it takes, when you really take the chance on, okay, I want to do this early on, there's things that lead up to that. So I wanted to ask, what was one of the first, like, when was one of the, like, what was the day you realized, like, I would like to do fashion, maybe not as a career, but like, what was the inspiration that led to getting you what you're doing right now?
So when I was in high school, I felt like I was best dressed, but I would never
Yep.
win best dressed.
Right.
I just never won it. And not that I even was looking for that or anything of the sort. I
Right.
just knew that like nobody could wear the things I wore. And
Exactly. Exactly.
people would always ask me, they'd be like, okay, well, what made you put this together? Or
Mhm.
only you can pull that off. And I used to
Right.
be like, no, I really think anybody can pull it off. It's all about like your confidence and how you feel about what you're
Exactly.
wearing. So
Exactly.
when I got to San Jose State,
Hmm.
instantly, because I'm not from the Bay Area or Sacramento or San Jose, I instantly got like hella people in my face like, damn girl, you're fly. Like I'm surprised you put
Oh
that
shit.
together. Or
Okay.
yeah.
It's
So
like
I
a.
just got a huge wave of
Was
people.
it like a change of scenery in a way where it was like, okay, now these people are more accepting of or they see what I see in a way, like they see the vision that I have. No.
No, it wasn't like that. It was more of a, I feel like I most definitely, people knew I could dress in Palmdale. That wasn't
Oh
an
yeah.
issue.
Okay.
Like
Okay. Okay.
we
Okay.
knew I could dress. People. So it wasn't that I wasn't getting like resignation for dressing in
Hmm.
Palmdale. It's just when I
Hmm.
got to the Bay Area, I realized that my style was universal.
Ooh.
Like
Oh.
my style wasn't just, oh, you're fly in Palmdale. It was you're fly anywhere around the globe.
Okay. Okay,
So
that's new actually. That's
once I
okay.
got to San Jose and I started like traveling, like my
Right.
first year of college,
Mm-hmm.
I started noticing that I stood out amongst everybody with the way I
Yeah.
dressed.
Yeah. That's
And so
respect.
once I
Yeah.
noticed that, that was that turnover. Like my freshman year of college was that turnover of like, okay, I want to be in the fashion industry. I didn't know what I wanted to do yet, but that
Mm-hmm.
was my first intro to it for sure.
Awesome. That's actually pretty cool because I feel like that's a unique way of jumping into the game. You have this confidence within yourself. You know, you're not really thinking about doing it for other people. You're just really confident in what you're wearing, and then it just clicks. I could do this. I could do this for other people too. What was your what was the day you realized, okay, because now you're probably, so did you go to school for fashion?
No, I went to school for business.
Oh shit. See that's probably why that video came out the way it did then. Because I'm like, when I seen that, I was like, nobody's doing that like that. Like that was unique as fuck. That was like when I seen that, I promise you I got a little bit of chills. That shit sent me straight to your messages. I said, I because at first I said, okay, I thought it was Ari. I thought it was her brand because she was like the main face at first in the video. And I think I had seen a snippet of it. And she was like the main thing. I'm like, oh, she does clothes. And then I kept watching and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Oh, it's her. Okay, so I need to get in contact with her. Say less. And then I seen your thing was Woodmorning, and I was like, okay, I like the name. It's a unique name, and it kind of gets your attention off the first one, off the first read and the first visual of it. So that
Yep.
was one of the things I seen. But with the video, I think I don't know exactly what my favorite thing about it was, but the first thing I thought was, who the hell came up with the idea for this video? Because whoever did got some fucking vision in their head, and I really, really, really want to speak to that person. So, what helped you create? Like, obviously, you have your video creator, your video editors, and your models who are going to help you create that. But in your head, do you think that you got out everything you wanted to get out visually? If that makes sense, I don't know if that was a
So
if that
what
was a backward.
happened with this? No, that's a good question.
Cool,
So what
cool.
happened with that was my initial vision. So my director and really the guy who really pulls a lot of the ideas out of me is Alvaro Wong. And he has his
Was
own company called Prime Scale Creative. And we've been
I think
working together since my very first video. He's the only person that's ever done videos for me.
that's
So
respect.
we have a creative connection when it comes
Hmm.
to brainstorming, to uh, the man's a genius.
Oh yeah,
So
I believe it.
I want
I
to make sure
believe it.
that I spread that everywhere. So what
But
happened was initially we had a different idea for the video and a
right.
totally different concept for the clothing and what I wanted as a video. But because
Hmm.
of COVID, we couldn't book the venues in which we wanted to book.
Right.
So if this was a normal day in a normal world, I wouldn't have
Yep.
had an issue getting the places that I wanted to shoot, but I
Right.
couldn't get those places. So we had to go back to the drawing board a little bit last minute.
Yeah, that's
So the
tough. But
concept, so really the concept that you're seeing
uh-huh.
was made within the 3 days of us filming and within the day we filmed. So
Nobody
that's
would
really,
have. Oh my god, nobody would have ever fucking known that. That's insane.
honestly, me and Alvaro and his team, we just come up with shit.
That's the
And
thing about it.
honestly, the mannequins were Alvaro's idea, and I would just because in the end, initially, it was supposed to be more of a basketball athletic commercial.
I kind of figured.
Couldn't get a gym.
Okay.
Even offered scholarships to schools, couldn't get a gym.
Really?
So yeah, I'm not
Okay.
scared to pay, but I'd rather pay the students for the school and not the staff.
You are different because not a lot of business people, a business person is going like a usual typical little business shark is going to see it as, I don't care who I have to pay as long as I can get that gym. You see it
No,
as, I want to make sure that this is going to the right people. And the fact that the school doesn't see the beauty in that and doesn't even give you the chance, that shows you where our school system is at this point. That's kind
well,
of whack in my opinion.
honestly,
But
shout out to Pete Knight, shout out to Mr. Hart, shout out to Miles Concrete at ABC, because those guys did do everything they could to try to get me into either Pete Knight's gym or the Parking Rex gym or ABC's gym. So they did what they could. I just think everybody was so scared of how many people I was going to have on set. They hadn't worked with me before. They kind of didn't know what we were gonna actually be doing.
You guys
on
are
set.
new to you guys are like new to the game, so they don't know if they can trust you guys yet. But
Well,
I'm
the thing
like,
is, we're not even new to the game though, because
oh, okay,
as
okay.
old hoopers, as old basketball players, my
Dion played
cousin,
for ABC, yeah.
my cousin was a predominantly known female basketball player in the AV 10 years ago, if that makes sense. So ABC's coaching staff, I know them personally. I know I went to Pete Night, I know them personally. I know some staff at Palmdale personally. So it wasn't even that we had new skin in the game. I just think that everybody had to protect their
jobs basically, because they see it as this is a potential risk. So they see it as
it's a risk for all of us. So it wasn't any bad blood. We still do scholarships. We still give back to the kids regardless.
Right.
But that's kind of how the concept ended up having to change. And we totally took more of a high fashion editorial move for it. We cut the words, cut the bullshit. Let's get down to Woodmorning's real and everybody else is fake. How do we depict that? These mannequins.
Yo, that's I didn't even notice that's what that was standing. Okay. See, so one thing that I was when you were saying how you guys kind of rushed it at the end, it was kind of last minute. One thing I've always noticed about any video I've ever watched about any type of creator, usually when they're pushed to their limits, that brings the best out of them. So do you think that this video would have been better than the video you originally had in mind? Or do you think that video still would have came out better if you were able to fulfill it the way you wanted to?
I mean, I can't really say which would have been better, but personally, I feel that I was 100% happy with what we made. And I think that does not mean that we don't revisit concepts and fix them up or clean them up. Not saying that the concept we had originally is going to die. We're going to bring it.
Exactly.
It's just now we have more time to do it the right way. Sometimes things aren't in the budget. Sometimes things, sometimes you can't get a certain photographer on a certain day, or you never know what's gonna happen.
All that's just one. I feel like that's always gonna be like one big mess that you're just kind of. You have to be patient until you start getting everything figured out and everybody is on the same page. I feel like that
we have me on set. We have my staff. We have 4 models. We have stylists, makeup, hair. You have all of Alvaro's crew, which is all of his assistants. He comes with like 5, 6 different people. His camera work, all of our lighting. So cars, all the cars, stuff like that.
Now it's starting to make sense.
There's so many different pieces that you have to have come together, and those people have to trust what we're doing, and we have to trust that they're gonna let us get into their heads and for them to depict the picture that we're trying to show to our consumer. So you have to be able to inspire people right there on set on what we're doing.
And was it challenging to do that, or do you feel like those group of people understood?
Me and Alvaro and his team always are like this. Awesome. My team is always ready to go. They know the vision. I'm usually more scared about the models, but Ari killed it. Ari killed that shoot.
First thing I seen when I seen her, I was like, I don't know what it is, but she just kind of like spells the word confidence. I don't know what it is about that demeanor she has, but confidence was the first thing that I seen when I seen her, was just confidence.
So I haven't worked with Ari before. I always wanted to, so I reached out to her and was kind of like, I need a leading lady, and so I need you. But let's not mention we hadn't really like interacted too much prior. We knew each other, but hadn't really interacted. So we did makeup in the morning, got to know her, got her breakfast and stuff, got her going, and instantly on set, she owned the set. And instantly on set, she took direction very well. She took it seriously. She got everybody out of their bubble, if that makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about, because there's like a comfort zone that everybody has, and you're trying to like make sure everybody's not on that awkward side. So you got to pull them out of the comfort zone a little bit, and hopefully when you do pull them out of the comfort zone, they're not, they're okay with that in a way.
Yes, so she was a vessel to my image, no problem. Shout out to Dion and J-Mo and Andre Jr. because they also saw what I was trying to do, and they took Ari's lead as well with her actually being out there, and they took it and they ran with it. So by the end of the shoot, everybody's feeling like I'm just as good as anybody in a John Stewart movie. I'm just as good as whatever you want to be. And everybody left there feeling like, all right, I've done something that I hadn't done before.
And they felt confident in that. And like it's a good thing that you were able to. It's a good thing that you left that. What's the word I'm looking? It's a good thing that you were able to let that be the last feeling they felt when working with you, because they could have felt stressed out. They could have felt like, okay, I just wasted my time. No, they felt I was really confident in what I just did, to the point where you could probably inspire them to start doing that even more for themselves. So that's what's beauty.
Have you not seen Ari blowing up right in front of your face right now?
I followed her the second that this thing happened. I tell you that right now.
She's booked every weekend. Not saying that was me at all. That's her.
Yep.
That's her. But I'm happy that I was able to squeeze in on her schedule and get her in there and actually be able to continue to work with her and build a good relationship with her, because the girl's got it. She has it, no problem.
She does, but she ain't the only girl who got it, because you do too. Well, I'm telling you, when I seen the video, I'm gonna ask you what your favorite scene was, if you have one. The whole thing's probably your favorite scene, but my favorite scene was the piano scene where the dude was on the piano and she's just kind of looking into his eyes, and I was like, powerful. That was beautiful to see, and it's like it's a nice little moment. It ain't got shit to do with the clothing, but it's just a vibe, and I fuck with it. So like that was one of the coolest things. That was one of my favorite scenes of the whole entire thing. Other than that, I would say that what I did love was, like, you guys had the floor. It was nice and wet, so the lights were reflecting off of it. The camera quality was obviously going to be amazing, because ain't no film crew going to have bad gear. How long have you been working with the video editor that you've been working with?
I've been working with Alvaro for probably 7-8 years now.
Oh my gosh.
I've started Woodmorning in 2014, so like 6-7 years. But we had we went to high school together. We didn't talk like that though.
Which is always the case. It's weird. It's like you always have that one person you know of in high school, but then 5 years later, you guys end up being great creatives with each other, because you guys never knew who you guys were going to end up being at this point in time.
Exactly. So we go way back. So
it's good though.
For a while.
That's good, because it's like you said, that you guys see eye to eye when it comes to creating in general. So I feel like when I would see like an artist and his producer, and they see eye to eye, it always creates the best, because when you have somebody who could really, because you're good at what you do, you're good at designing clothes and you're good at building your vision, but you may not be good at video editing. And because Alvaro was, and he was able to see your vision too, it's just like you guys are able to mesh. And this video ends up in somebody like my hands, where I'm just like in shock. I'm telling you, when I seen it, I didn't even think you were from the Antelope Valley. I just thought you was another clothing brand. I didn't know anything about you. I'm gonna keep it 100. When I seen it, I was like, this video just put me on. I'm too broke right now to buy any clothes. I promise you, I will definitely buy clothes. Like the leather jackets, especially. Those are one of the coolest things to me. But that video was like the first time I seen somebody locally do something so professional. And I'm all for that. When I first started doing this, like doing research on brands, or because my thing is Pizza Productions, I do my interviews. But one of the first things that I really tried to lock in, which I still haven't did yet, was try to create that professional look. So when I see other people doing it, I just have to ask questions. I just have to see. I feel like that's like the best way to learn, but at the same time, I'm just like, I'm just a sucker for seeing stuff like that. So it's just like, congratulations to you and your team for creating that. How long was the process when you guys got those dates? But not like when you knew you were ready to shoot at the warehouse. I'm assuming that's what that was. When you knew you had that day set to the last day of edits, how long do you think that process was?
Woodmorning works in a quarterly setup, so we were already like clothes have been designed in May. Production takes anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. Yep. That's if everything comes out perfect from drawing board to your sample.
Right.
So just say we booked the warehouse probably a month out from when we filmed,
Right.
because we initially were looking for other venues.
Okay.
And from the day we filmed, I would say editing took like 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
Just to get it right. We had a couple of different edits and cuts and stuff like that.
Right.
But not very long. And then I sat on it for a second before I released it, just so that I can make sure that I got the photos out first and things like that of the sort. But
Right.
not too long. We usually, Alvaro is the most professional person I've ever worked with.
Right.
So he's on time. He makes set lists. We're signing waivers. We're getting temped at sets.
Okay.
Alvaro is the most professional. He's somebody that has pushed me to be even more professional.
That is like perfect. It's like Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan right there. Like you have that person who's pushing you to be a better version of yourself, and you're doing that exact same thing for them because you guys have expectations for each other because you know what you guys can do. So when you know what you can do, yeah.
Because Alvaro, he doesn't really work with any other fashion brands.
Right.
Like he doesn't work in fashion in general. So I think sometimes we're able to tug and pull with each other on the type of production I'm looking for. We've done short films. We've done stuff like that of the sort. So sometimes I'm pulling out like the editorial fashion, high fashion stuff out of him. So it's cool to see us kind of pulling things out of each other that aren't really in our repertoire already.
Yep. Like your element, like you guys aren't really used to stepping out, but when you do, you end up being pretty damn good at it. Oh, that's perfect to hear. That's perfect to hear. So I'm gonna take it back to like the journey of getting Woodmorning started. But we're gonna start off because I already asked what was the inspiration behind knowing, okay, maybe I could be a fashion designer. The day you decided to start putting your money into this and start really putting your time and effort into something that a lot of people say they want to do, but don't really have it in them to make it happen. You made it happen. So I want to know, what was the day you realized that you were taking this seriously and you wanted to make your clothing, your brand for yourself?
So I started working on, I would say like January 2014. That's when I kind of had an idea that I kind of wanted to make clothing.
Right.
So I started kind of saving, not very much, but putting some money away for the summer because I knew I couldn't do anything during the semester yet because I was still kind of doing research, trying to find like manufacturers and stuff, which was always tough.
I figured.
So then I saved up some money, and then over the summer, I usually go home back to Palmdale for the summer, and I knew I was going to be bored as hell. Yeah. So I was like, all right. So I started my hockey jersey, which was my very first piece. Okay. So I made these hockey jerseys, and I just remember it being so expensive for me to ship it from like Hong Kong or something.
Dog, international. Oh, I hate international shipping.
Yeah, it hit me in the face, and I was kind of sad because I was like, I worked so hard for all this money, and then it was probably one of the most expensive purchases I had ever made.
Yeah, I believe it. But
I hadn't bought stuff of $1,000 worth ever when I think about it.
Is it a proud feeling?
At first, it wasn't. I was like, fuck this.
I don't blame you because I'm telling you. I remember, I think I tried to sell some shoes, and then they were like, "Yeah, you know about the international prices, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's like $60, not bad." And he's like, Rings it up. Your total is gonna be $200. I said, okay, nope. Yeah. Take it back. Give me them shoes. I'm out. So I could definitely see how that's a huge part. So when you do have manufacturers from like Hong Kong and all that, do you have any other resources within local areas or like within like LA, California, maybe in the US? So no matter what, if you want your brand to look the way you want, you have to get it from international places?
No, that's not it either. It's,
okay.
In America, I'm going to get political now. In America, we are not producers, we are consumers. So there is not very many, and this takes to Kanye. Kanye wants to grow his own cotton to make his own clothing because nobody in the US makes clothing or grows the cotton for the clothing.
I never knew that.
Yeah, so Kanye lives in Wyoming because he's growing cotton so that he can make his own clothing.
Okay.
Instead of having to find a manufacturer to make the fabric he's pretty much going into textiles, which is the smartest thing he can do because as of right now in the US, the only producers of clothing are going to be in your major hubs like LA and New York. And they scam you.
Big time. 100%.
Because of the I'm LA, I'm this. I remember I've been through about 4 or 5 different manufacturers trying to manufacture here in the U.S. first, and because I didn't want to be a part of this disgusting global footprint of what happens overseas.
Yo, so a lot of stuff that's not talked about.
I pretty much did the hockey jersey with a guy in Hong Kong. It was too hard for me to get in contact with him, so I had to find a group. So I use Alibaba.com to find manufacturers.
Okay.
And I remember I found one in Mexico, but my stuff kept getting seized at the border, and I was paying more to bribe them to send me my clothes than I was for the clothing. So I stopped that. I went to LA. I started manufacturing in LA. I did a sample for like a denim jacket. It cost me more than anything I had ever done just for a sample. And it was just not the route in which I wanted to take for my business of doing a sample and having to sell that jacket for $700-800.
And you don't want to do that because then people are going to look at your brand and be like, you haven't been around. We don't know you enough to want to buy $800 of your brand.
Everybody's brand loyal. Everybody's brand loyal. So you have to build up to be able to ask for more money.
Exactly. You're like the first person who I've ever seen say that. I've always known that, but nobody's ever said it. So that's true as hell. That's really how it is. For me, I could use like my barber as an example. I'm not going to switch up on my barber because he cuts my hair the way he cuts my hair. I had a brand. I don't know if you ever heard of Hypeland. HY. Yep. I used to get my jerseys from them because to me, they had like some of the best baseball jerseys. Wasn't going to buy a single baseball jersey from another brand because these jerseys aren't like actual teams. These are just like their custom baseball jerseys. So I'm like, I'm not buying a single thing from other brands. I'm going to be loyal to my brand because I've bought from this company before and it hasn't made me feel like I shouldn't buy from them. So just as an average ass consumer, I could see like if I seen Hypeland, like when I first started buying from them, their jerseys were like $40. If I seen their jerseys priced at $90-80 as a high schooler, I have to ask my mom for that money. If I tell my mom, can I get $90 to buy a baseball jersey? I might get slapped in the back of the head. See what I'm saying? So it's like that right there is going to push me away right away. But $40 is manageable. So it's a good thing that you've seen that. So, and that was just for like one sample or like a set of samples of that denim jacket?
One sample and one tech pack. So like the tech pack is the most valuable part of it because you get to know to other manufacturers and be like, I want you to make it just like this.
Okay.
But it just wasn't worth it. It was a bad interaction. The customer service I didn't like. And I just feel like I vote with my dollar. If I don't like you, you're not going to get one fucking penny from me.
I don't blame
Nothing. You. I don't care if you're a grocery store or a liquor store or whatever the fuck you are. If you treat me like shit, you won't get $1 of my fucking money.
That's how I am too. I respect the fuck out of that. Yeah, it should be that way because at the end of the day, it's your money. You work for that shit. Like you putting a lot on the line to get that money. At the end of the day, the more work you put in to get that money, the more you're definitely going to care about where it goes. So it's like
that doesn't mean you have to kiss my ass though. That's not what it means either though.
Yep.
And I think people think that that's what it means when I say that. And it's like, no, I don't need anybody to kiss my ass. I know I'm the shit. I don't need nobody to tell me.
Genuine respect for me, especially if I'm buying stuff from your company and putting money in your pocket. You should definitely be treating me with respect. It's like, damn. So with the manufacturers, were there a lot of language barriers that were in the way? You guys no one speaks English?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, lots of language barriers. I used to take emails in Mandarin and Google Translate them and then respond back in Mandarin to Google Translate.
And they're probably reading it as like, what is she trying to say? And they're like, she probably Google translated this because this is not regular. Like it's
Google
a language.
Translate don't do a good job.
Exactly. I remember one time I did like a little thing for one of my family members. I was like, is this the right interpretation? Because for my first interview that I did, I wanted to translate the entire caption into Spanish. So I was asking like, is this making sense? They're looking at it. They're like, what are you trying to say? So I told them the sentence in English. They were like, that is like backwards. And I was just like, okay, never doing that again. So I could see how that would be a big problem. But that's crazy because I never really knew about this problem for manufacturers. Would you say that like a lot of people who want to do what you're doing are probably experiencing the same problems?
No. The only reason why I would say that is because my goal has always been quality.
Yep.
Like,
I could tell. I could really tell. I could really tell.
My goal has never been to make money.
Right.
That's never been my goal. I'm not in this for the money. I don't do it for that. I do it to make your favorite item in your closet.
You know, I'm reading a book that's about marketing. They stress it. They stress it. It's not about how much you want to sell it for. It's not, if your focus is on the money, you're not going to create the good products, because the best products are created through passion. The best products are created because these people who are creating them care about creating them. And I feel like someone like you who has that mentality, as opposed to somebody who sees selling shirts as another source of of income, you have them beat, because at the end of the day, they don't know fashion the way you know fashion. They don't have the confidence in their fashion the way you have a confidence in yours. So you're able to exploit that in your brand. And just out of experience, you look at Nike, you look at any brand that's big right now, none of them are in it. Like Nike's not selling $200 shoes because they want to sell $200 shoes. They're probably selling $200 shoes because to them it's worth it. And it probably, I don't know how much it costs to make those shoes. I don't know anything about that, but they're not selling it because it's a really, no, fuck that. They're selling it because it's a really good shoe. And at $200 to them is probably minimum of what they should be charging us. But Nike has proved that they are quality. Like Apple, they just got done selling $550 earphones. The big Air Max, they're called Air Max Pros, I believe. They got done selling this for $500. You can get a pair of Beats for $200. You can get a regular pair of earphones for like $20 if you want decently good quality. Like the quality isn't really good, it's still going to be good nonetheless. But the thing about Apple, the thing we all know about Apple is when you buy Apple, you get quality, and they sell that quality because at the end of the day, once you reach Apple's level, you could easily just say, "This is quality, and you guys are going to pay for it." For you, what I've seen, your stuff's not overly priced. Like the only thing that I seen that was really expensive was the leather jacket, but that's a leather jacket. Leather jackets are not cheap. Letterman's are they $200 is like the minimum. So the fact that you're still doing it for those prices, I respect that. I'm just really glad to hear somebody say that they're not in it for the price tag, because that means you're not distracted. You're truly focused on the craft that you have. And that's one of the best things to have, I feel like, because like I said, that sets you apart from everybody else. And that's what leads me to have this conversation with you, because that video that I seen, like, I know I keep bringing that up, but that's what it brings me back to, because I seen quality. I seen somebody who doesn't see it. I'm doing this for advertising. No, I'm doing this to show you guys my collection. I didn't see that as an advertisement. I just seen it as, okay, she's showing off her collection. Like, it's an advertisement, but you're not doing it. You're not posting that video on, like, you know how you could do the Instagram promotions? You weren't doing it for those reasons. You were doing it because showing off the clothing. That's what I liked about it the most. It's just like the quality. So it's good talking to somebody who's so young, but has such a passion for doing it. I feel like the fact that you knew about that Kanye situation, I don't know fashion probably did, but the fact that you knew that, a lot of people probably never even seen that. So I feel like does that plant a seed in your head? Like, when I'm there, I'm probably going to want to be able to build my own shit so that I don't have to worry about half the things that I'm worrying about right now? Or
Well,
is that...
I'm most definitely a creative first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an entrepreneur though. So
yeah.
I feel like if I can be the source of things,
Mm-hmm.
I will, but I will not overextend myself in something that I'm not the best at. So
I respect that.
Why would I don't need to pick up a camera. I have guys that are better at that. I don't need to be.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be cutting and sewing when I have somebody that's better at that.
Exactly. You focus on what you're good at.
Yes, realistically, I'm here to inspire. I'm here
Mm-hmm.
to motivate. I'm here to get you fly and get you going in whatever you want to do. Whether that means you're going to an interview, whether you want to get into fashion, whether you're in music. I'm here to inspire you and show you quality and professionalism.
Yep.
That's what I'm seeing. That's all it's about to me.
You're doing a good job at that. You're executing on that perfectly, because that's all I'm seeing from you, in all honesty. But one of the things I did want to say is that one of the things I learned when I first started doing these interviews was you can't do everything as a human. You can't do everything. And if you try to, you are going to 100% limit the potential of what your brand could be. So you got to be able to have people around you who are good at the things that you're not good at. And a lot of people can't do that because they don't have the finances to sit here and employ other people. So sometimes you got to ask favors. When you were building that team, was it easy, or was that one of the hardest things to do?
So I've always worked. Like, I still work a 9 to 5 right now. I've always worked. There's never been enough money, and I'll never have enough money. So I'm always going to be going after it. That's the entrepreneur spirit in me. Even if Woodmorning was bringing in hella money, I would still be making money other places. I would still be putting my money into other things to make more money. So that's how it starts.
Right.
Because you can't be the leader of a business and think you can just be the creative and not be the boss. And that's the difference between me and all these other brands, is that not only am I extremely creative, I'm an extremely good businesswoman. So that's really where it starts. Where are you bringing in? I'm not in any kind of debt off of Woodmorning ever, if that makes sense.
Ooh. Yep, I get that.
No
I get
handout.
that 100%.
I built this from the ground up. Like,
so you want to have people. Yep, you want to have people around you who really bleed this shit almost, like, you know what I mean? Like they really care about this enough to put their all on the line for it. And if they're not,
shit with my bare fucking hands. So
I'll be damned
if you don't come in here and respect it and
you're
know that I can tell when I first meet somebody that they don't feel how I feel about what I'm doing, and we don't need to work.
Exactly. And that's a great thing. That's a great instinct to have.
I think what happened initially was my ego. When I first, ego's big. Ego was huge. So when I first started Woodmorning, I thought I was good at everything. I've made a magazine. I've done a lot of things that I thought I wanted to do and that I thought I was good at. And very quickly realized that I was not the best at those things. One thing I am good at is I can model, so I can get in front of the camera and I can create. I knew that. But when clothing, there's so many other aspects of the business. There's marketing, there's operations, there's HR. Who's going to hire people? Who's going to do that? I don't want to do that.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do social media.
I don't blame you, because
that.
You can have people doing it for you.
Who's better?
Exactly.
And it took me probably until, like, I want to say not even that long ago, maybe 2 years ago, for me to realize that I needed a team. But that's not easy. At
all, especially if you don't have the finances to make that happen.
It's not I feel like easy at all. And like you say, you have to pay people. People don't do shit for free.
For free. Especially if you're not demanding, but expecting a lot of their time and their energy. They're probably going to be like, at first, the first couple times, they'll be like, okay, I'll do it for free. But like, they're going to see it as, I'm sacrificing my time for this. I'm going to need a little bit of something, because I just feel like that's genuine respect. But it's those who believe in your brand enough who might just be like, I don't need that. I'm perfectly fine. I believe in what I see. I just want to work with you. Have you ever had anybody like that, or was it always like you had to go out of your way to go like pay these people?
Well, I have people that will work because they want to build their portfolio and they know that I'm quality, or they want to kind of be mentored. That happens all the time, and I'm totally down with that. I like when people express what they want up front, though. Don't come to me and say you want to be mentored, and then after you've been mentored, come to me and be like, "Where's the check?" Because that's not how that works.
Exactly. If you want to be mentored, you're going to get mentored.
When I looked for you're going to get some good mentoring too. Some mentoring that can make you make your own money.
To the point where you could go do this on your own.
Yeah.
That's what I'm offering. To me, that's more than money, though. Because I'm giving you, it's like I'm kind of giving you the keys on how I did it, and I didn't have this. So the fact that you have this advantage, you could do more than I did at this stage, because you have the experience that I did not have, and I gave you that. To me, that's more than money.
See, the thing I always say is, to any designer, any artist, I'll help you with anything you need. I'll link you up with anything that I use that helps me. The only thing I won't give you is my manufacturer.
Understandable, because I had to find that shit.
Because it took me 5-6 years to find this guy, and now that's mine.
I don't blame you. I don't. That's right there. That's like I feel like I can't really explain what that is, but that's like having not like a secret, but kind of like a.
I gotta keep something to myself.
You have to. No, fuck that. I feel like this should be like your video editor, shit like that. People don't understand how powerful a video editor is in today's world of content. Like the world is plagued with content. So if you have a video editor who can understand you and understands, because there's a language in video editing that people don't see. When a video editor knows how to cater to you, but also speak their language through video editing, it's very, very powerful for marketing and advertising. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, to me, like, I respect the fact that you're even sharing out your team. Like, of course, you have your fashion designers, people who, I mean, your fashion models, they're on camera. People are going to see them no matter what. Those are the ones you were okay with. But like, to me, a video editor, I'm like, I'll keep that to myself. But he has to eat too. So you don't want to take that from him. You want to be able to get him as much exposure as, because at the end of the day, you guys helped build this together. So you at the video.
And for the other artists I know, if they're looking for quality, my videographer needs to eat. Y'all are trying to get good quality. I know that he can make you better. You're gonna put money in his pocket. He's gonna give you something that might put more money in your pocket.
He's gonna get more experience. Exactly. That is very true. That is very true. Another thing for him in that case for the video editor is now he's getting a little bit more experience. Maybe he's stepping out of his element a little bit more so that when he works with you again, now he's a little bit more leveled up than he was the previous time. So that's the beauty in that. So in this, I don't think that so when you were building this, I feel like we've already discussed a lot of the challenges that came up. Out of the ones that we discussed, were any of those the biggest challenge? Do you have one challenge that you could just think of and you just dread that challenge that you had to get through, but you got through it?
The manufacturer. That was my hardest thing.
Because when you told me it took you damn near 5 years to find one, I'm like, 5 years? That's 5 years. That's not 5 months. Like 5 years is 365 times 5, damn near like close to thousands of days. It's a lot of effort. What was like what made you know that this was the manufacturer you needed? Like, what distinguishes manufacturers from each other?
So I did my collection called Welcome to Greenwood a couple of years ago, and I had found this guy on Alibaba,
right?
And we only talk on WhatsApp. I've never seen this guy, and we don't talk on the phone.
Right. Very low key.
Very low key. Well, not even low key. It's only him and his dad who make these clothes. It's him, his dad, and his brother. So it's a family-owned business, which I like because I didn't want to be a part of that factory shit.
You didn't want to be a part of the shit with like the kids working in factories, all that. It's just a dirty thing that makes them not. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the guy kind of introduced himself to me. He spoke. Well, I don't talk to him, but he can write, and he writes in English very well. He understands what I'm saying. Sometimes my sketches are like shitty. He can match them up, and we made our very first thing together, and it was just a jersey, like a baseball jersey. But I loved the quality, and I loved how much it cost. And the hard thing about manufacturers is they want you to make 500 units of something, 600 units of something, and we're just starting up.
And that's what I feel like that's what they expect, because so many people make clothes. There's so many other brands, so they're expecting their minimum is they probably worked with the big guys at this point, so they have expectations, and it sucks because when you're so new, or not even new, it's just when you're starting up, like you said, it's very hard to prove that you have quality when you don't really have much over, because you haven't found the manufacturer that you have now. Because I'm sure I say within like 2 to 3 years, like I really feel like I know you said you've been doing it for a while, but I genuinely feel like this is really just getting started, because now it's really just are you comfortable with what you're creating, or do you feel like you have so much more to prove?
Oh, I'm never content. You should see me at video shoots. You see me afterwards. Instantly, it's funny because me and my girl always talking about this. We'll go to a shoot. We've been at the shoot for 12 hours, 12 hours.
Oh, yep.
And I'll get in the car and I'll already start. Oh, this could have been better. That doesn't mean that I'm so hard on myself or I don't celebrate. Oh yeah, we're popping bottles.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it's done now.
I instantly start. This could have been better. This could have been better. I instantly start evaluating how everything could be better. And so I'll never be content. I'll never be good enough for me. I don't live in a level of this is what I like and I'm good here. Never. I do agree with you that I'm just getting started though, because I feel like I've had this breakthrough that I was having a hard time with breaking out of that weird streetwear sector. If that makes sense.
Like, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Streetwear. I'm from streetwear.
Right.
But I want to be high fashion. I want to be high-end clothing. And I feel like this collection and this video took me out of that amateur space and put me into a very professional, high-end space. So now
when I saw it, because that's the thing about it, because you feel like you're kind of leveling up then, because it's like, not to look back up, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be amateurs, because everyone's just going to be getting started at what they're doing. I feel like that, like you said, that was kind of like your way of being like, I completed this. Now we have a new thing. Now we have to take on. Now we have to do what we did for that, but for the professional aspect. But now you have a lot more. I wouldn't even say it's competition, because when you love creating what you're doing, I don't think there is competition. Like, to you at least, I feel like there shouldn't be, because you're like, oh, I'd buy from them too. Shit. But just saying, like, I'm confident in what I'm making. I don't worry about what anybody else is making.
I only wear Woodmorning.
I don't blame you.
And everybody around me, it's funny, you show up to family events. I'm walking around. I'm in the grocery store in Palmdale, especially in Palmdale. I'm in the grocery store, and I'm like,
you just see somebody.
Look, he has Woodmorning on. Oh, that's old Woodmorning. Oh, that's vintage Woodmorning over there.
Yep.
And even sometimes, me and my girl will be getting dressed. We both step out, and we're like, damn, you got the same shit I got on, bro. Like, chill.
Hey, but it's like, that's low key a flex on the low key. If you think about it, it's like, that's because that's your shit.
But that's you know what? Back in the day when I first started Woodmorning, I didn't wear it. I thought it was obnoxious for me to be wearing my own clothes. I actually didn't like some of my older clothes, if that makes sense. I was making them for others, if that makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then I stopped doing that. I stopped making clothes for what I think people like, and I started making clothes on what I creatively can. You went back into
that mind state of, what do I like to wear? Like, when you were in high school, you were like, well, why was I not picked for best? I think that I'm the most, like, you were just very confident in what you were wearing, and it was time for you to, like, finally get the confidence that you had within yourself and just do that. Exactly. Get what you were wearing and basically create it for other people, because I feel like that's what separates you, is because you had that in you for so long. People don't know what you want until you give it to them. You probably thought they wanted something else, but really what they wanted was for you to be yourself and create what you thought was best. Because at the end of the day, you aren't gonna be able to create what's best unless you're confident in it yourself.
Yeah.
Well, is there any piece that any piece of clothing that you dropped that that's your favorite? Do you have a favorite, or is that not a thing? Because you always have different things coming about.
Of all time, my favorite item of all time
that you've made.
Let me think of something I've worn the fuck out. That's usually what I think about. What have you worn out?
Yep. Like your go-to in that case, then?
Yeah. You know, I can't think of one thing. Oh, okay.
You want to know what I like about that, though? That it's so hard for you to choose. There's probably so many. It's hard for you to choose just one.
I'll give you my top 3.
Yes, ma'am. That's my favorite right there.
Okay, top 3 that I actually still rock with to this day. The Welcome to Greenwood baseball jersey. I got 2 of those. I still wear that shit to this day.
Okay.
The Skullface tee. I don't know if you ever seen this Skullface Woodmorning t-shirt.
I'm not so sure.
Everybody and their damn mama got it, and people got multiple of them.
Okay.
It was a concept, like a Halloween concept I had probably 3 years ago. That shit's Lego. That's my shit.
Okay.
And then I would say number 3, don't even think about the new collection though, because I have to let shit sit.
Simmer down.
So don't even think. I'll get to my favorites in the new one right now. But the last one is my cargo pants that Dickie stole from me. So fuck you, Dickies, for stealing my concept and stealing
bullshit. Because they're a big brand, and it's hard to stop that when they're a big brand.
But that's okay, because this shit came out 3 years ago. So if you're copying my shit that came out 3 years ago, then I'm on the up.
You're on the up because at the end of the day, put it this way, they stole one idea, and that was just one of them. That's not going to be the only fucking idea you have. So if you have big brands stealing shit from you, that just shows you where you can be in the future. You could be better than them to the point where you have people like you have big brands that are like, instead of saying I'm just going to steal from them, you'll have at that point in time you'll have the luxury of saying you steal my idea, you get sued, motherfucker. So now they're gonna be scared of that. They're just see it as fuck that. We might as well collab with her, and you might have I don't know. At that point, I wouldn't even fuck with Dickies after that.
The reason why fuck them and they know they're wrong and the homies flooded their comments, but this is old. So these are old designs. We're past that. We've moved on to the next. So the fact that you're biting off me on some old shit, that means like you say, that's a pat on my back. That applauds me. Because that means that you guys have a couple more years to catch up to where I am right now.
Yep, that too. And it's like, thank you for telling me without telling me that you loved my idea because you stole the motherfucker and started making money off of it. That's low-key a monopoly in my opinion because it's Dickies. Dickies is one of the most well-known brands. Yeah, they're not Hilfiger or Gucci, but they're one of the most reliable brands to buy from when it comes to like pants and shirts. Well, not really shirts, but more like pants and cargos and shit like that.
Yes.
So I would be sick, but at the same time, it's a good thing you took it how you took it because you understood. Well, shit, that was from 3 years ago.
What's interesting because like the homie kind of tagged me. The homie saw it first. I had never even seen it, and that made me more happy that a buyer of mine noticed it and tagged me and said, he tagged them and tagged me and said, this looks like at Morning Woody shaking my head. And
boy.
I'm just thinking like I hadn't even seen it yet. And then so I'm like, okay, let me look. And at first I didn't think nothing of it, but then I started looking at my old sketches of that same product. And I'm like, there's no way you were inspired by anything else but this exact
other than this right here.
They didn't even change the color. You didn't even take the time to change the color.
I guess that's the beauty of being a bigger brand in a world where small brands are starting to make a name for themselves because you could just do that. You could literally steal from them and act like you didn't. That's what sucks about that. Because I'm pretty sure there was a situation with the Kylie Jenner and she was either like, it was the same thing with some people making dresses and she was stealing those looks and social media said, no, blew that up. So that's the beauty in that. But like I said, that's just the unfortunate part about that is that they don't have the right, obviously, but they can easily steal ideas from small businesses and make basically way more money. That sucks. But at the same time, right back to where pat on your back because that's a flex in my opinion still. Because I'm like, yo, and when you said that's a little, the 3 years is like a sprinkle on the top because it's like and that was from 3 years ago. So please have fun stealing whatever I come up with for the next
please
years.
Yes, exactly. And even like, okay, so like you were saying, what are your favorite pieces? My favorite pieces for this collection are the pinstripe shorts, the basketball shorts, which I think you're not going to see a lot of them now because of the weather, but in the summertime, they're going to be everywhere.
Popping out, exactly.
The suit, the terry cloth suit, which can't nobody touch this shit. The quality of it is stupid. And then I made a like bowling tee, like it's like a bowling polo type.
I don't know if I've seen it, but I think I know what you're talking about when you talk about bowling.
Yeah, it's kind of like a polo. It's buttoned down, very vintage.
That's another thing I do like. I do like the logo, like the text, your font for your brand. I do love the actual Woodmorning US thing on your website. One of my favorite fonts that I've actually seen. Was that like a font, or did you guys get that created? Like, did somebody draw up that font?
So really, the face logo is my logo. I just switch up fonts for names.
Okay,
I'll pick a font that matches, but everything I do is Woodmorning is, to sum it all up, it's vintage clothing with a twist of New York, with a twist of Chinese, Japanese inspiration, with a little touch of Palmdale.
Okay.
To bring it all together.
Yeah.
The dirt brings it all together.
Yeah, it does. Not gonna lie. I like what I see, but like I said, that leather jacket's probably my favorite one just because I love leather jackets. What goes through the entire process? I know it's not going to be easy to summarize everything, but from sketch to having it in your hand, what is that process like?
So I can sketch a whole collection right here on Zoom with you, no problem. That's how
That's a,
easy it is for me to design.
that's a flex. That's a real flex right there.
I'm really good with color theory.
Mm-hmm.
So if you notice, I do a lot of plays on color. Woodmorning is this is the least colors I've used in a collection.
Okay.
But make sure that they all contrast. All your Woodmorning from previous collections to now should all be able to be worn
Together.
in collusion. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I respect that because I'm big on color coordination. I just learned in marketing there's psychology in colors. Like there's like a science behind colors. There's like gradients and like colors that go together and don't go. Like there's like literally like I don't know if you went to hex.com. It's literally like it's like a color wheel. You choose a color and they gave you a breakdown on what colors are good with that colors, what background looks good with the font of that color, and what like shades of that color that would make sense. And there's like moods and emotions behind colors. Do you take that into account when you decide what color is going to go onto one of your designs?
Yep, and I take in skin color of models.
Oh,
Everything.
I never thought about that. Is
Everything
that a big thing?
contrast. Everything.
Okay.
There's so many. For example, I was just watching a black and white film the other day, and it's a Spike Lee film. She's got to have it, and pretty much the interesting thing I saw that he did was for it to be black and white. He made sure that the clothing and the skin contrast.
Oh shit!
And for it to be black and white is big.
Real quickly, I'm so sorry. Real quickly, to somebody who doesn't understand fashion, let's say that you're talking to people who don't understand it. What is color contrasting?
It's like here, I'll give you a prime example. I'm black. I like to wear white socks.
Right.
Because they're gonna stand out amongst my skin, just like I like to wear yellow.
Okay, now I get you now. So
but if you put a white boy in some yellow, he not gonna feel it like that.
And it's not gonna look too appealing because it doesn't stand out.
And it doesn't mean he can't wear it. That doesn't mean he can't wear it though. I think everybody can pull anything off. But that's what I'm talking about when it comes to contrast. It's that swing of things.
Okay.
Like if I'm really dark skinned and I'm wearing a white t-shirt, that t-shirt's gonna pop.
Like a motherfucker. Right. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. So that's pretty much how it starts off. Is I come up with the concept first. Right.
And then I start creating off of textures and colors that I do like or that I'm inspired by. Okay. That doesn't mean I'll come up with like video concepts or anything right away, but I do come up with kind of where I want it to go. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes I come up with the video first and then I add the clothing to it. Okay. For this collection, I came up with concept first, and then I came up with clothing. I feel
like that's a good way to go about it.
You never know.
That is true.
Sometimes I'm stuck with 10 designs, no title, no creative vision on video. That happens.
I believe it.
So then that happens. We sketch. Me and my manufacturer go back and forth. He makes mock-ups for me. We get samples. Samples take 3 to 4 weeks. He ships samples to me. I'll say thumbs up, thumbs down after I wash them, after I see what textures feel like, see if I need lining on the inside, changing zippers or whatever the case is. If we need to go back to the drawing board, we'll correct all that then. We'll order in bulk and then we'll send. Okay. So if it's done back to back to back with no hiccups, it can take like 8 to 10 weeks. If you have some hiccups, you can go anywhere from 10 to 17 weeks.
Ooh, that's pushing it. But when you are you prepared for that 10 to 17? So when you are, never mind, because you're probably not advertising shit until you have your clothing in, like your sample in your hand. I'm assuming, right? Is it your sample, or do you want to have a load of like a set of your clothes already?
So all I need is samples. He can go produce on his own time. As long as I have samples, I can still shoot. I can still have photo
Mm-hmm.
shoots. I can still have video shoots. I can still come up with my marketing campaign with just the samples. And then that's when he can just, I don't have to press him because I'm going to campaign for at least 6 to 8 weeks before we even sell any clothes anyways.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
it's not really an issue. Clothing overlaps, if that makes sense. So
nope, it does.
I'm going to keep pushing east all the way until February because this is a winter collection. But
of course,
we're already in sample process for spring summer.
Ooh,
so as soon as you stop
cool.
this,
one,
you're already
heading into this one. There is no and then so is that helping you stay, or is that what helps you stay organized? Is we're focusing on this one, and then like a month before this collection ends, that's when we start building towards the next one? Or is there like a longer time period?
I've gotten more organized than I've ever been because I have a girl who does social media now. So now that she does social media, I can be like, all right, here's all the photos for the next couple months. I'm going back to the drawing board to start designing. Instead of back in the day when I had to continue to post and continue to market and continue to get promo and then try to create at the same time.
Social media is so fun until you start having to market for it, and you're just like, I have to do all these damn things, and in order for those things to like get exposure, I have to post all these damn things on social media. The time behind that people underestimate, because if you really want to look good, you're going to, no matter what, put your time into it. So I'm really glad that you were able to find somebody to do that for you, because I know how much of a blessing that is. You're just like, now I could truly, is it a point where you really could just focus on your part? Or do you still have things where you're like, okay, I wish that I had somebody to help me in that? Or are you very confident in the fact that you could take on every task that is given to you at this point?
At this point, now that I have some staff, I have somebody who's doing operations, I have social media, and then I have HR just in case I need that, any documentation, legal documentation, all that stuff. So now that I have that, those people have been holding me up a lot more. So it most definitely frees up a lot more space for me to design, but
of course,
there's still staff that needs to be filled.
Mm-hmm.
I still need some PR. I probably want another social media employee.
Of course.
So still some things. Eventually, I want to bring in another co-designer.
Of course, because you want to be able to have that person you see eye to eye with when it comes to like the final design.
Yeah, or just somebody who brings fresh ideas. Just like writer's block, you have design block too.